support of Penn's 2012 Diaspora Reading Series, which is funded in part by the Los Angeles Department of Cultural Affairs. Special thanks goes to Joe Smoke, the Grants Administration Division Director at the DCA, for making this reading series possible. Now I would like to introduce our first reader. Giovanni Ortega is a poet, playwright, and contributor to the Writers' Workshop, The Undeniables. Ortega has performed his poetry at Tuesday nights at the Cafe, California Lutheran University, Nubian Foundation for Literature and the Arts, SIPA, and produced Noche de Artistas, an open mic for writers and musicians. He is the artistic director of Mezclao, an open mic performing arts institution that nurtures artists in artistic diversity, ensemble collaboration, and inspiration. He wrote the play Ayos, the story of Carlos Bulosan, commissioned by East West Players Theater. He has produced the Literary Festival Cuento and curates the Kita Tayo Sa monthly series at SIPA. He also teaches educational workshops and travels the country with Play Fair, a one-man show that incorporates improv with motivational speaking. Giovanni is currently a professor at the American Musical and Dramatic Academy and the New York Film Academy. Please welcome Giovanni Ortega.
I've been in the South Korea myself, so the jaw's coming out. Thank you, Penn Center, for having me here. Alright, so the first part is the writers who inspired us, and the second part is our own work. Of course, mine is Carlos Bulosan, who was called Carlos as a kid. He's glad. Oh my goodness. Alright. Halika, come and see on Queen Anne Hill where the wind tastes the same as Vinaloma. For over a quarter of a century, people forgot about me. But sometimes they give you back your name. My name is Carlos Bulosan, but you can call me Alice. Here's my grave where I was laid to rest on September 11, 1956. And I haven't been able to sleep since then. Let me tell you why. You see, when I first arrived here, the wind slapped my face telling me to go back home. And so did many Americans that I encountered. Ni puede. Once you turn your back on your country, it won't be the same, diba? You may return, but you are no longer from there. Do you know anyone who was born in a different country? Ask them. They'll tell you. Halika, I must tell you a little cuento, a story about a boy who ran away from home. If you want to know who we are, who inhabit forest, mountain, river shore, who harness beasts, living steel, martial music, who celebrate labor, wisdom of the mind, peace of the blood. We are the multitudes the world over, millions everywhere. In violent factories, sordid tenements, crowded cities, in skies and seas and rivers, in lands everywhere. Our number increases, the wide world revolves, and increases arrogance, hunger, disease, and death. We are the living dream of dead men everywhere, the unquenchable thirst and truth that class memories create to stagger the infamous world with prophecies of unlimited happiness, a deathless humanity. We are the living and the dead everywhere. If you want to know what we are, see the lynch trees blossoming, the hysterical mob rioting. Remember the prison beaten by detectives to confess a crime he did not commit because he was honest and who stood alone before a rabid jury of 10 men. We are the desires of anonymous men everywhere who impregnate the wide earth's lustrous wealth with a gleaming fluorescence. We are the new thoughts and the new foundations, the new burner of the mind. We are the new hope, new joy, life everywhere. We are the vision of the star, the quietness of pain. We are the terminals of inquisition, the hiatuses of youth crusade. We are the subterranean subways of suffering. We are the will of dignities. We are the living testament of a towering, flowering race. If you want to know who we are and what we are revolution. They are afraid, my brother. They are afraid of our mighty fists, my brother. They are afraid of the magnificence of our works, my brother. They are even afraid of our songs of love, my brother. How many years did we fight the beast together? You in your violent way, in your troublous world, I in my quiet way with songs of love. Over the years we fought apart and together, scarring our lives, breaking our hearts, for the shining heart of a heartless world, for the nameless multitude in our beautiful land, for the worker hard and unemployed, for the colored and the foreign-born, and we won, we will win, because we for truth, for beauty, for life, we fight for the splendor of love. They are afraid, my brother. They are afraid of our mighty fists, my brother. They are afraid of the magnificence of our works, my brother. They are even afraid of our songs of love, my brother. I know deep in my heart that I am an exile of America. I feel like a criminal running away from a crime I didn't commit. And this crime is that I'm a Filipino in America. Homeward again under foreign stars. History was a strange gust of wind from memory that came to echo waterfalls of those years. The sun was most unkind to the place. History, names of men, patterns of life, all that distant flood tide heaved and moved, breaking familiar names that immortal tongues clip for the heart to cry, home is a foreign address. Every step toward it is a step toward 300 years of the exile from the truth. It was not homeward to the first known land nor escape, to white sea sprays blossoming on inland shore, nor love leaping the boundaries naked in the soul, but a vast heritage of war and destruction breaking, too soon for the living and willing to die. Life is a foreign language. Every man mispronounced it. He got up and took my hand. He put something in it and ran to his bus. It was a little envelope that contained $25 and a note. He had written, "I'm not as well read as you are, but I know that a little volume of poetry can give something to the world. I could have striven to raise myself as you have done. But I came upon a crowd of men that destroyed all those possibilities. However, I'm glad that I remain what I am, because it will give you the chance to see your own brother in darkness. In fact, it will give you another chance to look at yourself when you were like me. My lostness in America will give you a reason to work harder for your ideals, because they are my ideals too. I did not have a rich and easy life, but it was my own. I would like to live it over again. I'm sorry that there are people who hate and destroy in our time. I'm sorry that they kill. There's so much to do, if not for each other, for the world. I know this is not the last goodbye, but if I'll not come back, I know that you will make me live again in your words." America is also the nameless foreigner, the homeless refugee, the hungry boy begging for a job, and the black body dangling from a tree. America is the illiterate immigrant who is ashamed that the world of books and intellectual opportunities is close to him. We are that nameless foreigner, that homeless refugee, that hungry boy, that illiterate immigrant, and that lynched black body. All of us. From the first Adams to the last Filipino, native-born or alien, educated or illiterate, we are America. And that's who us. How am I going to follow that, right? Jeez. All right, this is my stuff. I was like, how are you going to write so good. I'm all nervous. Okay. Someone threw a glass of humility on my face, and it brought me to my knees. You see, I was serenading the city, Dow. Haranas in the heart with Alice on my mind as he journeyed up and down California, from boxcars to violence, tar, feather, and fire, where blood pours perspired. And now we tell his story, where the Ku Klux can't, because it can't. I don't get offended, I educate. The Ku Klux can't, because one was in my class who spelled the songs we both like, who swastika paralleled my tribal son, and he who knows what color paint is, because I painted it in his tears. Much has changed. And so little few. When a few states away browns need to prove who they may be like Klamath Falls, basta, they can't ask for my pasaporte azul or my Santo Domingo rosaries or my Bisbila beads. It's become a sin to be brown in Vieja, California. Once, action, Yavapai, Apache, Navajo, Popopai, Habasapai, hoping rob la tierra, hoping people fall and rebel. At the Tagalog serenade that we recite up and down the coast, he writes, while up and down the coast I speak. How far have we gone, little brown Ken, my brother from a and cousin of Howley Hospital love affairs and Nietzsche diadems, while Ginsburg howled at me North Beach, city lights, streetcar and trolleys, and Whitman Lid left, leaves under my soul and lavender inside my pockets. At Crimson last night, it seemed 55 years back. Someone turned to two of me and said, you Asians like Peking duck. I don't get offended. I educate. Alice, I've dreamt of the day when we're face to face sharing stories of pros and icons. Rizal and Sakta will not speak, but Makali might rise up and help. Tell me how I can return back to Oregon again and again and watch my twin live with her porcelain. As an 18-year-old cries on my shoulder, how can I not be shy? You ask me this, young lad. Me, a 12-year-old immigrant of unwanted parentage, fat dimples and thick furrowing eyebrows, able to speak English but unable to be understood. Yo con mi madre sola on welfare with a 6-month-old kid begging to get paid $50 for eating spoiled rice with bulgogi. When God's got my back whenever I speak from my soul and breathe from my heart, how can I not be shy when I resort to conversing or conversating to line paper or napkins or dentine wrappers? My best friend, a ballpoint pen so that no one can hear me speak. Dígame la mentira de la verdad. I'll still this boy. From Wilmington, Thousand Oaks, Bend, Oskaloosa, Lynchburg, or Yuma, how we can tell stories by pointing our lips. North, east, southwest, sideways, highways, or sway in our hips to cajons, chelos, octavinas, culentanas. Tell him how we can switch tongues from Iberia to Nihongo, Yangla to Okidoki, Pangalatok to Bacano, Bisaya, Ilocano, Kapapakan, Meken, Isabuli. Dile, sabihin mo, tú sabes, Ayos, cuando llegué en nuestro país, nuestro da tierra, nuestro America, wala silang sinasabi kung hindi. Welcome. Welcome home. Welcome back. We will hug, kiss, slap, swear, beat, hold, educate, assimilate, hate, touch, caress, and belt, spit, spank, lullaby, embrace you and haze you all at once. Because I threw a glass of ice-cold humility on my face, and it brought me to my knees. I'm a poet by trade, so this is my kind of like, this last year was my first foray into fiction, non-fiction, sort of. It's hard to make sense when you're writing, you know? Yes, okay. Where is it? A rock. She was named after a rock, which was also her great-grandmother's name, a gypsy from Alhambra. No, not Spain. San Gabriel Valley. Well, at least that's what she was told about her great-grandmother, who was the one who crossed the border from Juarez. I know, why did did she just cross Texas? No one really knows how she got here, hence the nickname La Gitana. In all honesty, she wasn't surprised that La Gitana chose that name instead of being called La Rock. 3 generations later, she inherited it. The funny thing is, inside her body, she was also a gypsy. She can easily up and leave everything that she had, which was minimal. She's always felt like a nomad and an outsider ever since the girls in high school taunted her. La piedra, chinita con varita piedra. Puta. Ella tan tontas, it's with a T, not a D. She'd whisper under her breath and just keep walking. Latinas can be such bitches, especially if you're not one of them. But here the problem lies. She had the same caramel skin and nariz indio as theirs, but the eyes gave it all away. They were almond like calligraphy. Like Gitana didn't have those eyes. Nor abuela, nor mama. Han, her father, her absent, non-existent, almost exiled father is a Han, which constitutes 19% of the world population. Funny. So many Hans and not one father. A minority at her high school, but not next door in Monterey Park. And here lies the other problem. Whenever she talked to the girls on that side of the tracks, they rolled their almond eyes and covered their marble skin and talked shit through whispers. Actually, she didn't know which was worse, being called names out loud or being called names under her breath. And so she took to herself most of the times, listening to Julieta Venegas and Faye Wong on her iPod. Just like at this moment, right now, 5 years later, listening to the same music as she stares at this rock, this massive rock turned into a wall, turned into a bridge that stakes through where her father comes from in a language she can barely speak. Si ma tai. And at that moment, she felt proud of her name, Pietra. The strength of it all and how the bruises those girls gave her are now scars of power. She stands here, a gypsy in the early parts of the morn, screaming her name out at the top of her lungs. Okay, I actually live here at Silver Lake, and I love it. I love it. This is kind of like talking about that. It's quiet tonight. The birds have stopped singing to me. Trees are only dancing in shadows to 07. Even the raccoons aren't scurrying. The number 2 just passed across the street. Volunteers are done planting vigor in the community garden. We still joy and laughter at the farmer's market, and the blind man stopped singing. The fog has started to flitter and filter about. Much to be said, but only breath comes out of my pores, my body slowing down like the last seconds of the day. It's quiet tonight. I dreamt of fodder and awoke so anxious, nervous, and lost. The silence is palpable. It tastes of a frostbite or a melted snowman. Regardless, it is a choice I've made to look into the darkness of my backyard filled with dancing squirrels and cigarette butts. It was different altogether when tatami floors and wisdom tooth can make you smile. It's quiet tonight. Okay. Horario. Abre los labios and smell shadows como los pajaritos del 101. Invading sueños, tienes más tiempito para volar. One becomes aged on your sideburns and the hair on your chest. Estadounidenses on the other side para arriba as we move on from skateboards a los caballos. It's an uncommon act, but in inherently human to feel one's time ticking. Masarap tumikim sa gabi ng ibang timpla ng iyong kutis, iba sa aking dilim. Simple lang at dahan-dahan, waring nahihiya sa init ng ating katawan. Nagtatago sa ngiti ang pilik mata, parang naglalaro sa gubat. Tikim. Finger.